Okay. Ah, alright. Alright. Oh, for fuck's sake. God almighty. Why is everything fucked? Okay, one sec. Sometimes sometimes I literally wonder if it's not the fucking all of the things that I have here that are supposed to help me that aren't making my life more difficult, you know? I literally hello? So one sec. One sec. What's going on? Okay. Oh, that's what's making the noise. Okay, fuck. Found it. Found it. Okay. God. Now, that's what I need. Okay, copy that. I can't hear myself, which is freaking me the fuck out. So I got to set up and then I got to figure out where Maddie went. Maddie disappeared. Oh God, what's happened? Oh no, what have I done? What have I done? What have I done? I don't know what I've fucking done. Hi. Oh, Maddie. Okay. Are you here? Hang on. I've got the link. One sec. I'm really not liking what I'm seeing. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I have to say about that. Now, I need to make that the opposite, please. uh, oh, hang on a sec. Maddie, I am on StreamYard, but I've still got Stream Labs open. So I was going to see what was going to be the best way to do it. Are you already live on Twitch? Oh gosh, that was good. I'm not going to lie, there was a fair bit of Frangelico. Okay. All right. Shit, I hit the wrong button. Sorry, I'm laughing around in the background. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. Excuse me. So the really good thing. Ah, Maddie's already here. Hi.
Hello.
Sorry, I'm just editing the layout.
That is all good, buddy.
No,
There we
it's
go.
not. No. Um,
Settles. Do you want me to set up a layout for you?
no. I'm fine. I got
Okay,
it. Yeah.
cool beans.
Oh, I'm just trying to put this in the background, so I'm just editing. I've got to actually edit a layout. It's all good because there's. Anyway, so yeah, I know what I'm doing. Um, this is fucked, as I was saying. Hang on a sec. Fuckity fuck. Fuck. And why is that not working now? Oh yeah, yeah. Does everyone remember that back in the day? The there we go. The bad lip syncs.
Oh, yes.
Every time I'm just like really fucked by something. I'm like, oh yeah, yeah. The zombies were clearly not saying when they were like at the gate. They wanted gnashing, like they were gnashing their teeth and fucking saying all kinds of shit, but it came out as yeah, yeah. Makes me laugh. Not gonna lie, I'm a bit. Yeah, I'm a bit miffed at this, but I'm going to figure that out in the background. It's fine. And I also hang on. I can't. I can only share one screen at a time on this. This really annoys. You actually feel like you can breathe. Just remember that this is ABC Australia. um just remember that this is Australia's ABC News coverage of it. So when I
And
do flick
also,
over, yep.
and also with this coverage, please be keenly aware that a lot of the media coverage is based on guesswork from early indicators of polls. So,
This is
of counting rather,
Sorry, this is what I was going
because
to say
the
about the
count
difference
takes
as well
longer.
between our predictions versus the US predictions. So, for example, NBC News has a much more conservative estimate of 30 right now for Harris because they're basing it on a lot more data than what we're basing our estimate on.
Yeah.
So they've got Harris sitting at 30 and Trump sitting at 168. Um, yeah, not good.
Yeah.
Not good that the NBC is a lot more confident about Trump's 168 seats than they are about Harris's 30.
I'm just going to work on something with these layouts in the background for you um, while we're doing this and see if I can work something out, okay?
The issue
I'm
that
not going to
I'm
change
having,
your
sorry.
layout.
No, the issue that I'm having just because I can't share two screens at once. That's what I was trying to figure out how to do.
Right. Understood.
Yeah. Just thought I'd be specific about that because I think a couple of times I've had issues with stuff recently and everyone's like, "Oh, fix it." And then I've come back and I'm like, "That wasn't the issue that I was having." So
Okay.
specifically, I want to share ABC and YouTube. And if you can figure that out, awesome.
All right. No worries. Let me have a bit of a look and I'll see if I can work it out.
No worries. Are you looking at the Associated Press numbers? What are the Associated Press? Let me have. Blah, 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 blah. Associated Press. Oh, they have 99 and 177 for Paris. They're showing similar results to the ABC News. I
Yeah, I
wonder
think
if,
ABC are nicking theirs from AP.
hey?
I think ABC are nicking theirs from the AP.
Yeah, I wouldn't. They're not necessarily like they're probably getting it. I would say from what is they? What is that? They've got 3 different rallies on the screen at the moment. The Senate is really bothering me. Really, really, really bothering me. Don't look at the Senate, guys. Don't look at the Senate. And don't look at the House either. I'm
Just
telling you
don't look
not,
at it.
and I'm not gonna tell you what's happening with them. Oops, too late. Yeah, fucking Texas. Yeah,
Fair call, Bell. I don't blame
I
you
I
one
gotta be
bit.
honest with you. I don't necessarily think that this is a good way to be spending the afternoon. If you have other options, do that
Yeah,
instead.
no. If you've got something better to do, definitely do that.
Don't. I've got to dye my hair or something this afternoon. I'm sure. What the fuck? Seriously.
So you're right. You can only add one media slot. Um, you only have one screen, don't you?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Bugger.
Why?
Because if you had a secondary screen, you could utilize screen share and just have the ABC on one part of the screen and YouTube on the other part, and just share the entire screen as your media source. But
But
since that's not an option,
that's how I. So when you share screen, you can select either to share a window, a tab, or an entire screen. That is how
mhm,
I share. Like sharing screen is what I'm doing by sharing the ABC.
yep, yep, that you're
So
selecting that tab rather than the whole window, right?
yeah, but even if I had another screen, I would still only have the option to share one
Yeah.
screen, which I'm
So
doing
you
with the
just have
ABC.
the ABC at the top of the screen and YouTube at the bottom of the screen, or YouTube in the corner of the ABC on a separate
Oh,
window.
yeah, no, that, yeah, because yeah, my computer would crash if I try and do that.
Understood.
I can't have like the tab active even, like it's in the background, it's not even active.
I see. I see.
I wish I had a better computer. I wish I knew that I was going to be streaming when I got this computer because I was literally like, I only need it for word processing. They're like, oh, this will be fine then. Yeah. If it was just word processing, it would be. I'm about to turn my car around and head back to the hippie festival. Tom, why would you leave the hippie festival? That sounds like the perfect place to be.
I might be able to share one of my screens into it, and I could have ABC coverage and
Oh, can we
YouTube
both
up.
share a screen at the same time?
I don't know whether we can both do it, but what I'm saying is I might be able to take over the share, um, and
See
that
if we
might help.
can both share a screen.
All right, no worries. So YouTube, and what were you looking at from YouTube in particular?
I'll put the link just here. It's just
Yep, bet.
the mute. It's the mute coverage. Like it's what's it called? It's mute. Like there's no person talking. It's just the information scrolling. Because you can
Right,
go to
right,
the
right.
NBC page and get a person explaining what's happening, but they're just doing a whole lot of yapping and trying to make us feel better about the fact that the world's burning. When all we really need to do, hey! And we're in StreamYard, so everyone can jump up too, by the way. We got slots galore. StreamYard. Got all the slots. And my computer won't crash because it's not all coming through my computer. It's all going through StreamYard. And I'm not doing any local recording at all. So. Oh, you're
Right,
allegedly
let's see.
working. Of course you are. Of course you are. I'm sure your office understands that there's a US election going on that right now is like literally going to determine the fate of the planet. And I'm sorry, but I kind of want to say, nah, that didn't
Okay,
work. You
so I
took
took
it.
over. All right,
That's okay
bear with
because
me
we
a
can just
sec.
flick back and forward between the two of them now. That's fine.
That's all right. I have got an alternative option. The other was the
No, we'll just
ABC
flick back
coverage,
and
was
forward
it?
between the two of them.
Okay.
Um, why is this not working? Interact. um, it is really annoying that it won't just let us do whatever the fuck we want. So Trump has officially taken Ohio and Texas, which, okay, big surprise. Um, I'm just really upset about how excited he looks. More than anything, I just wish. What are you doing? No, I
Me?
meant on the windows, Maddie. I meant I've got a window here, you've got a window there, not as in can I force you to flick back and forth between the
Oh,
two?
right. My apologies. I see.
I was like, oh, it's so easy. We could just click on them and then back and forth to the other. And you're like, oh, okay. If you insist, I'll sit here and click. No, I wasn't like, this is what I was saying to Belle last night, too. I was like, letting Belle know something. And then I was like, I sent a 3-minute long voicemail where I'm like, just want to be really clear. This is not in any way, shape, or form me asking to put any more work on your plate whatsoever.
Right.
Maddie's
I
just quietly
understand.
sitting there going, yeah, I'll just be your little slave, whatever, bitch. Okay.
Dude, I don't mind doing it. Like, you forget
No,
who I am
absolutely not.
fundamentally as a human being.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm so not used to anyone ever listening to me that I don't even think twice when I speak with authority. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. And then people listen to me and do things, and I'm like, without questioning, and I'm like, excuse me.
Goddamn, Lily, that's the thirstiest shit I've seen put in Twitch chat since like a week ago.
I was going to say the thirstiest thing I've seen in the chat since last Friday
Yeah.
when you were last in the chat. This
Since
is
the
the
last
last
time you
time you
spoke.
spoke.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is moving so quickly, I'm a little bit shook. Yeah. There were so many posters talking about Ohio and the Dems. Yeah, Ohio, we're not going to talk about. Texas, no surprises there. Ohio, we're not going to talk about. I'm surprised we haven't called Michigan yet. So I'm not going to lie. I'm a bit nervous that we haven't called Michigan. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to. I'm just going to have a little. Ah, that's what I'm looking for. Nope. You You That's the fucking one I couldn't find earlier, but I don't need that right now because there's two of us, so it's not the point. Uh-huh. Okay. So this one and no. We got two different.
See, this one's okay. Because now we've got the full screen share.
Do we?
And I'll just put that on full screen. Yeah,
Hang on.
because, like,
Oh
we
no!
might be tiny.
Hey, sorry. No, I was editing in the back. I'm editing in. I wasn't seeing what you were saying. Sorry, I'm actually literally editing right now. No.
Oh, okay. Well, that
Sorry,
screen
no
layout that
fucks.
you've
That's
selected
not.
there,
No,
I
that wasn't
actually
what I
quite liked
selected.
it.
Hang on, I'm editing.
No?
That's
Okay.
yeah. Hang on. Um, why is it not doing that? Why is that not working? Oh my god, this is really annoying.
I'm not sure what you're trying to do.
Oh no, because you can't see it right now.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it keeps going back to that one when this is what I was doing. There you go.
Hey, okay.
So now we've got
Cool,
two
cool.
different windows with two different media slots. We can just go between. So that one gives us sort of more in the middle what we're looking at. And then this one gives us more when we need to be lower down because it's up above what we're looking at. Yeah. I was trying to make us smaller, but StreamYard is a little less. Scream into the void. Yeah. That's what we're here for. I was looking for something that was a little bit smaller for us, but for some reason it'll only make us smaller if we have more people come up. So who wants to ABC has 178 for Trump, yes. And 99 for Harris though. 99 for Harris. So, you know. Yeah, I think
It's 10:30 in the morning and I'm drinking, so,
hey,
you know.
the fact that I'm out of coffee and I still have a bottle of Frangelico here is, to be fair though, I've got to be honest with you. This bottle of Frangelico was brand new a week ago, and it's nearly empty.
God damn, I
I've
haven't had
been,
Frangelico in ages.
um, it's been a hard week following this. Yes,
Yeah.
hello. I need everyone to calm until Friday. Fuck that, start screaming now. Yeah. Yeah. I can't drink and I'm drinking. Yeah. I I f- I feel like Maddie's just sitting there looking really stony faced.
Yeah.
I
I'm
feel
I'm trying desperately not to panic.
yeah. Vomit for a laugh. True. Vomit for a fucking laugh. I think the thing is, this is what I was saying in the voice message to the group chat the other day. Everything that I had been reading, all of the polls that I've been reading that were giving me hope, were all things that were like, okay, all of these like unofficial polls that are like the amount of masks that a Halloween store sells every year tells them which president's going to win. The amount of cookies this particular bakery sells every year tells them which one's going to win. Every single one of those grassroots indicators, let's call them grassroots indications.
Mm.
Every one of those was pointing towards a Trump win.
Yep.
Every one that I was looking at. And the reason I was hopeful was because so much of the stuff that I was seeing was like, okay, yeah, but millennials and Gen Z make up the largest voting bloc in this election than any other election before. A lot of those indicators haven't taken into account Gen Z and millennials' humor. Like, how many Gen Zs and millennials are buying a Trump cookie just so they can fucking smash it, for TikTok versus in the past people buying it because they wanted to take a cute picture with a cute Trump cookie. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
all this stuff that I was reading, all this analysis that I was reading was sort of saying that just because it looks like a Trump win doesn't mean it's actually going to be a Trump win. And I was like, okay, this is making me feel hopeful. But I should have just listened to all the indicators that were pointing towards a Trump win instead of all the people trying to tell me how the indicators that were pointing to a Trump win were actually secretly indicators of a secret Harris win.
Yep. The
I'm not
coverage
breaking
is so
sobriety for this,
wildly
eh? No,
different.
go Drew. Sorry. Yep.
The coverage of this is so wildly different depending on who you look at.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, we've got the YouTube up in the background here showing 62 168. I've got CNN on a different tab showing 81 154. What's ABC currently showing?
99 to 1 sec. Oh, hang on. I got to refresh it again. 1 sec. Let's go back to the ABC. Oh, no, 99 to 178 still. It looks like it needs to be refreshed, but no, apparently not.
And having a look deeper into the actual maps here on the CNN, North Dakota is predicted Trump with only 8% of the vote counted in. Like,
Yeah.
how are we throwing out accurate predictions based on, and like, okay, even worse, Wyoming, right? Predicted Trump with 1% of the vote in. Like, it's
So
such an early prediction call.
it is in some respects, in some cases. So I can actually give you a little bit of background into how
Yeah, please
polling
do.
works and why they're able to call them and stuff. For anyone who would like a more in-depth look at this, you can go and check out our Two Girls, One Garbage Can episode called Coming Up Shorten, where we discuss polling and all of the bullshit statistics and polls and the way that it all differently works. But something that we didn't cover in that episode is when you're looking at polling, depending on where it's being pulled from and what, like, so for example, in just use Netherlands, the race that I actually ran in for as an example.
Yeah.
When the first boxes were called at the first districts in areas that previously had shown, like, you can compare it to previous election results and you can go, okay, so for example, this particular polling place and this particular polling place have called in their results. That
Mm-hmm.
might only be 2% of the entire area's polling results. But
Yeah.
this place in Subiaco, for example, consistently showed this kind of a result, which would then lead to like this result overall. And this polling place down here in Dalkeith has a vastly different result that then has shown this kind of an outcome, and they're both tracking pretty similar or wildly different, or like it's. So statistics is one of those really difficult things where you're never ever able to take one number and have it give you an answer. You're comparing it to 50 million other numbers as well. So what
Yep.
they'll look at is they'll say the numbers for Subiaco came in and showed that the Greens had 17% of the vote. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Subiaco has a relatively high percentage of Greens votes overall, but even considering the usually high percentage of Greens votes, that was about 5% up from previous election results.
Mm-hmm.
That says to us a couple of different things. first of all, it looks like the Greens have made some gains in this area, like fantastic. So we can say, look, there's going to be an uptick in the Greens percentage vote for Nedlands. But we can't say it's going to be 5% because early voting was only open at 2 locations in Nedlands, and Subiaco was one of them. So a lot of voters, particularly Greens voters, would have voted early because of COVID being a factor. You know what I mean? Like all these other things that kind of go where we have to take all that into account to like. So all of this mathematics and calculation is going in to coming out and saying to you with 1% of the vote calculated, we can say that, you know, Labor, they literally called that for Labor that early on in the election with only having counted Subiaco because of the massive uptake in the Greens vote, the fact that there'd been less of an uptake, that there'd been less votes for the Liberal candidate than usual, and there were more than expected votes for the Labor candidate despite them not having a very strong campaign. So they called it for Katrina Stratton, and then Anthony Green very unusually called it back and said we're going to hold off on that result because of the unusually high result for the Greens, tells us that this is maybe too much of a change for us to really call it. And then later in the evening went back on it and went, no, we can actually call it for Katrina Stratton, because at that time, Dalkeith, which is a vastly different area, also then called, which again, despite it now being only 1.5% of the total votes counted, you've got Dalkeith, which is a strong Liberal state stronghold, versus Subiaco, which is like the top end of the Greens. But both of them have smaller polling places, so they can get counted and in a lot quicker. I know all of this makes no second sense, and I'm like completely rambling about this shit, but I love this fucking mathematical statistic part of it. Like it, anyway.
Yeah.
I find it interesting. And who
No,
wants
no,
to
no.
talk about
Look,
what's actually happening in the US?
it's definitely interesting, without a shadow of a doubt. It's fascinating. I don't know. I guess yes, statistics can take you so far, but realistically, until every single vote is counted, it doesn't mean shit. It's just best
But
estimate, right?
the thing is with democracy and with our voting and our electoral system, it's always only just best estimate. We're never going to be 100% correct on the voting tallies and results. And the other thing as well is if you're looking at, for example, we sort of think about, you know, states like Texas, well, of course, it's going to go to the Republicans. Yeah, but for example, like the reason I'm sort of looking at Nedlands as a good example is because in the top end of Nedlands, you've got a really strong green stronghold because you've got the unis and stuff there. But in Dalkeith, you've got like 5-acre mansions built by gazillionaires who all live directly on the Swan River. So you've got a wildly different population, which means based on 2 different polling places, you can pretty much guarantee what the entire area is going to look like. And there's like 12 different polling places in Nedlands overall. Like, and we're talking the results that come in the quickest are always going to be from the smaller polling places. So we're talking about the smallest percentage of the smallest percentage of the smallest percentage of the votes being calculated will still be enough to give you, which is how all polling is operated. Like all polling is based on trying to get, and all, in fact, all scientific research is based on trying to get a wide enough, diverse enough slice of the population that your results are going to are going to hold steady across statistical deviation across the community. So this is actually, funnily enough, as well, for anyone who is interested in criminology, this is a huge part of criminological research and study, because whenever we're talking about any like criminological understanding, and even like we're talking about like the dark figure of crime and stuff like that, it's all based on this kind of quantitative data research and analysis that we have to undertake privately, because you're not going to have a whole, like the criminal justice system is not able to collect that kind of data. So it's all based on going out there and collecting this research. And the best way to get the research is obviously you go to the person, and research has been done around this as well, which is why I fucking love this shit. But this guy did this research where he literally went up to the person he knew that had the most criminogenic propensity and said, who's the most criminal person you know? And then went to that person and was like, who's the most criminal person you know? Like, and basically until he got to someone who was like a kingpin and was asking them all these questions and did all this interviewing with all of their organization. And I said it was like within 6 of their friends, they had gotten to someone who literally knew, this was a LA, you know, and the reason they were doing this research and trying to do it this way is because so much of the data and analysis that we have is based on people who actually make it through the criminal justice system into prison.
Yep.
And that's why so much of our understanding was like, well, these people are the criminals because they're the ones who are getting caught up in the criminal justice system. And it's like, that is very clearly not the case. And we know that, like, obviously you can just know that by looking at the situation. But until someone goes and gets the data and does the analysis, we don't have the research to point to and say, yeah, we know it actually is the case. And so this guy did. He literally just went up to his mate and said, who's the most criminal person you know? Until he was in with this crime organization where he could find out what got them started in crime, what are some of the worst things they'd done, what were the things they'd got caught for, what are the things they'd gotten away with. And this is where we finally started to understand just how big the dark figure of crime is, because every single, like, and again, sorry, I know I'm like rambling about this fucking shit, but
We have
in order
strayed ever so slightly off topic, but that's okay. I'm fascinated.
But in order for something to be statistically significant, it only needs to hold for like 2% of cases. So if something has a 2% chance of happening, then it's statistically significant, because
Yeah.
that's how broad and varied the human experience is. So when
Yeah.
people often say, like, it's an act of God or it was a miracle, it's like, well, no, it had a 1.2% chance of happening, which is well inside not only the realm of possibility, but it isn't even enough to be considered statistically significant.
Right.
The chances of it happening was so large that it's not even like someone falling from a 10-story building and landing on their feet and not hurting themselves is actually, like, when you watch those people who are like, how did I survive? Most of the time it's like luck, because 2%
Yeah.
of people are going to survive that. And it's well within the chances of it happening. Which is why, unfortunately, it does mean you are going to have situations where, despite, and I was actually worried when we said we were going to log on, and you said, "Oh, they're going to start the election closes at 7." I was like, "Does that mean that they're going to start calling states before we're even out of bed in the morning?" But luckily, apparently Joe Rogan did something right wing last night. No surprises there.
What a twist. No
I
way,
will
Joe
just,
Rogan. No
yeah,
way.
I will just say, the what do you call it? Have not updated in a while. Associated Press haven't updated their call in a while. They're still
Yeah.
sitting at
Well,
178 to Trump, 99 to Harris. Hmm?
the next polling place doesn't close for 13 and a half minutes.
Okay. Well, in
So
that
that's
case, I'm
when
going
the
to go to
next set
Lou
of polls
quickly.
close. Yeah, go for it.
Oh,
I'll attempt to be as entertaining as I possibly can be.
oh, I meant to ask as well. Okay, so, once we've got the Constitution and everything set up, we got to let people
Mm-hmm.
know about the first annual general meeting. But we
Yep.
haven't done that yet. So I can't get excited
Yep.
about that. But if we want to talk about something positive, we could talk about that for a bit instead of
Um,
that.
are we
All of the
jumping the gun
bad.
slightly?
Nah, we've been talking about it for
No?
ages.
Okay, cool. No worries. Just, yeah, I'm taking your lead on all of this, bud.
Oh, like, well, yeah, whatever you want to talk about. If you want to be positive for a bit, I'm just going to go to the toilet. I'll be right back.
No worries. Oh, dear.
Oh, I better mute my microphone too.
Yeah, it's difficult to find out what's going on in Tamara just showing her pants off. Yeah, difficult to find out what's going on Twitter these days since Elon decided to make it so you can't see shit without an account. Actually, there's something that I'd like to talk about. Because of Elon Musk's direct campaigning and interference with the election, there's been talk about him either having to dissolve his companies or be removed from his companies because he's now a political actor. But then again, that would have to apply to Trump and his various business leanings. So, maybe that's just horseshit. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. This is going pretty much how I thought it would, to be honest. And we are going to see the Democrats being incredibly predictable on this one. If this loss does go through the way it's looking like it will, we're going to see the Democrats blaming Muslims, blaming Latinos now as well, because I'm seeing that the Latin vote is down compared to what it was for Biden. And we're going to see them blaming anti genocidal activists. And they will move further to the right. So, yeah, that's fun. Elon existing ruined your childhood comics suck now. That's because we're reading mainstream comics. We really need to look to independent creators who are just doing their own thing, webtoons, that sort of thing. They're a lot more fun and have a lot more varied experience anyway. Amy, you're exactly right. All those libs will show us exactly how racist they are. It'll happen. Yeah. Yeah. Yay, indeed. Definitely not the greatest way to start a day. It's not even 11 a.m. here in WA, and having this as the start to my day is not great. Yeah, no, Batman can fuck right off. So confused by the election. Tom, what's got you confused, bud? I'll see if I can help. I will admit I am not the be all and end all of intelligent discussion around US politics. As a matter of fact, frankly, I wish that we could completely ignore US politics the same way that, you know, Australians ignore the elections in Vanuatu, you know? Um, but tragically, because we have 700 million US army bases in our territory, and we are so intrinsically linked to them, we wind up in this situation where you've got two people who usually talk about Australian politics now dedicating their morning to talking about the US election results. Yeah, look, I was I was going to avoid doing this. I was going to focus on doing art instead, on painting D&D minis, or um, writing up the backstory for my Vampire the Masquerade character, because I'm going to be doing a Twitch-based VTM game on Monday nights. But I knew that I would only distract myself by looking at the coverage, so I might as well look at it with Tamara and with you guys, so that I feel less alone while I am forced to ingest all of the bullshit. Just how they could elect Trump, it's insane. I've got one word to explain that, Tom Tom. Racism. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Or, you know, maybe a second word as well. Fear. Because Americans are, like, overall, some of the most irrationally terrified people in the world. Their media trains them to be scared at all times. It coaches them to be incredibly individualistic, um, and to ignore or even work actively against community. It teaches fear of the other, it teaches fear of a stranger, and it teaches people that accepting handouts makes you a fundamentally bad person. Um, so that then leads into things like your racism, um, because fear propagates the need to blame an other for everything that goes wrong in your life. Um, and that's something that Americans are coached into as well, is the need to find an other to blame. And I can't just slag Americans with this. Let's be honest; it's damn near every Western nation. Um, every single one of them is taught to fear other. It's just how our media system is set up. It's the most effective way to maintain capitalistic control is to keep workers afraid. Um, your friend just relax you a little. Please share with the class, Amy, because I think everybody could do with some relaxing. Yeah, East Coast hasn't closed.
Hi.
Welcome back.
So we've called some more. We've got some. Yeah, her dad everyone heard the East Coast hasn't closed yet. Yeah, and it's really important as well to remember that a lot of the larger states on the West Coast haven't been called yet either. A lot of those larger Democratic states haven't been called yet because they're, like, when you've got a larger population to count, you got to count more votes to get up to that 2-3% threshold before you can start seeing what the results actually are.
Yeah, exactly.
You may only need a small percentage of the population to get an idea of how the population voted, but a small percentage of a couple million people is still a lot of fucking votes to get through. So if you have a look at that map that's about to pop up on the screen in a second, in a sec, there it is. Over on that side there where we have a lot of like grey, I mean, there's a lot of grey over there that shouldn't be grey as well. There you go. You can see there's red over there, but there's also, that's the wrong map.
Yeah,
Sorry,
this is Senate. This
I
rotating
can't figure out if the video is behind or in front. There it is. That's what I'm looking for.
I'm
so
pausing it on this window for you.
Thank you. So those, I'm just going to put it in front of us for a sec. Those states there that are grey on that West Coast, they're grey because they've got larger populations percentages that they've got to count and are most likely going to be blue, right? It's the red centre that is able to be closed first because there are less people in those places. They have to count less votes to get to that percentage threshold. So the red centre is going to light up first. We do have a lot of blue over in the west that hasn't been counted yet. There's going to be a lot of blue over on the east that isn't being counted yet. So the disheartening things are things like when we hear, Ohio, there you go, we can go now. Ohio has been called for Trump when we weren't expecting that. That's the kind of thing, that's concerning.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So, from what I'm seeing, Ohio hasn't officially been called for Trump. He is leading, but it hasn't officially been called.
It hasn't been called for Trump yet?
Not what I'm seeing, no.
Okay.
That's based off of 3 or 4 different news sites right now.
Yeah. And look, that is the problem, is that there's only a few states. Yeah, Michigan is the one that I keep saying Michigan's going to go Democrats. Michigan needs to go to the Democrats. If Michigan does not go to Harris, I'm closing down this live stream and I'm going to go get into bed.
Yep. That's perfectly fair. Perfectly fair. I'm all for that, actually. I might join you. Not in your bed, obviously, in mine.
Oh, you can. We'll cuddle. We'll have a little
Yeah,
cuddle.
bet. No worries. I'll drive 4 hours for that. 4 hours. Lol. And then the rest.
And the rest. It's so if we include the historically safe states, they're looking pretty neck and neck. It's not too, because we know she's going to get California.
Yep.
We know she's going to get Washington.
Yep. You'd like a FaceTime of that cuddle, Lily? Look, well, when it happens, we'll FaceTime you, all right?
You're
And I say
invited.
when rather than if.
Yeah, I keep looking at Florida, but just being like, really? Really?
Yep.
Really?
After everything.
Really? Like, I just keep looking at it like, I don't
Like
really.
Orlando went Kamala. Leon went Kamala. So did Gadsden. I'm not surprised by Hillsborough, which covers Tampa, leaning more towards Trump.
Yeah.
Not surprised by that at all, because fucking Tampa. And Jacksonville, again, not surprised by that.
So Pennsylvania is obviously a big one. Pennsylvania is a really, really big one.
Yeah.
With 19 electoral college votes. So that's kind of
Yeah, it's kind of huge. And they are
huge.
very close there.
Very, very close. 49.5% to Harris, 49.6% to Trump.
I've got it the other way around.
Oh, do ya? I was
Yeah.
going to say it's literally close enough that even if it got called one way or the other, it would be close enough for it to be challenged. So the problem is, if it gets called for Harris, Trump's going to challenge it. If it gets called for Trump and Harris doesn't challenge it, it would be silly because it's worth challenging it. But at the same time, I think it would be one of those, we're not going to challenge it because we're going to respect democracy, highbrow, stupid Democrat moments is what I think will happen.
Absolutely right. You're 100% correct. Like, the ridiculousness of so many Democratic pundits, like the social media part of the punditry, of being like, if the Democrats win, don't be that guy who goes out and gloats about it. Be the better person. And it's like, why is it that
be the fucking winner?
Why is it that people to the left of center always have to take the fucking high road?
No,
Like,
it's the centrists.
why is it that we can't get down in the goddamn mud?
Yeah, the leftists are ready to get down in the fucking mud. It's the centrists who are always like, no, be the better person. It's like, no, be the last man fucking standing.
Right.
The meek shall inherit the earth was a lie capitalists told us to keep us meek and labouring after them.
Yep.
Fuck that shit. Fuck off with it completely.
Throw hands, for fuck's sake.
I would like to point out though, because I have been, and this is actually inspired by Amy, because that bitch does inspire me constantly. I've been doing a lot of deep reading into violence as an instrument of political communication. And
Hmm.
I say violence as an instrument of political communication because it absolutely is a instrument of political communication. But
Yeah.
interestingly enough, there are two very different and distinct ideas around it, and depending on, so when you look at the left and the left's view of violence, violence is always directed at property in the literature constantly, even when we're
Hmm.
talking about, for example, really simple things we could do. Andreas Malm, How to Develop an Oil Pipeline, points this out. If we just went around keying all of the fucking tanks that we don't want on the roads because they're horrendous gas guzzlers, if we just went around keying them all, it would be too expensive to own those kinds of cars. People would stop buying them if everyone
Yep.
went around and just keyed them every time you saw one in a parking lot. Um,
Hmm.
so there are little things that we can do, violence against property that we can do, that can fundamentally reshape our society.
Yep.
And this tendency of the left to veer away from violence as a pushback against the right's use of violence, because the violence always, always directs violence against people as a weapon of control.
Hmm.
Whereas for the left, violence is seen as a tool of um, progress. For the right, it's an instrument of control. And Tamara always telling me to be violent. Oh, I'm going to need you to give me another name, because I was like, no, oh, never mind. I was talking about you two. Like, you inspire me. Don't even. Um, just tell me where I'm aiming my Molotov. No, but it's just really, really, really interesting anyway, the way that when we're talking about it, basically it can because again, I've been doing this big long form video which I was filming yesterday, and I looked gorgeous, just saying. Um Around the myth of democracy and the myth of justice, and yeah, it's been swallowing my whole brain.
Yep.
Been swallowing my whole brain. Don't keep showing us the Senate. That's just depressing. No one wants to see that.
Yep.
Don't show us the House. That's just depressing. No one wants to see that. Go back to the Senate. Go back to the Senate. Oh, show us the presidential. Update us on what the presidential numbers are doing instead. Oh, fuck. No, go back to the Senate. Oh.
Like,
Oh.
so I get what you're saying, right?
Hey?
I get what you're saying about the use of violence as a means of political communication, yeah.
Yeah.
But at some point, like, at some point, how many punches are the left supposed to take to their personhood before the left start going, you know what, fuck this civility bullshit. I'm getting
But
my
yeah.
crowbar and going out breaking knees. Like,
Well,
how many punches are we supposed to actually deal with before we drop the mask of bullshit civility?
Well, this is the point, is because we frame violence differently, because the left keeps saying no, don't use violence, even though for the left violence is directed at property. We are hamstringing ourselves with a pretty important political tool that we have access to, that we
Yeah,
should have access to, because yeah, the right are out here using violence. Because the other thing as well is particularly when you understand assault as a legal and a political tool, you understand how, like, the reason that incitement to violence is a form of, like, it falls into the same category of like grievous bodily harm, like it not
mm,
as in the same category of assault, but as in it comes under the category of assault. It's a violent misdemeanor, like it's a violent
yep,
crime to
yep,
incite someone to violence. Speech is a form of violence because it can result in injury, and people will
mm,
say the speech doesn't directly cause the injury. that's why incitement is the crime, because you're inciting with your words violence being done on another person.
Yep.
Um, and it's because we recognize that as a tool, but it's like the right are willing to use violence on people directly in ways that the left aren't willing to, because we see violence being a a escalation tactic, when for the state in particular, and for the right take their lead from the state, because again, the armed wing of the state tend to be where the right come from. It's really weird how fascism tends to spring up from within the state every time. It's so bizarre how that just keeps happening.
Yep.
Don't know. Anyway, um, but they don't view violence as like a failure of communication or like an escalation. It's literally just one of many options they have in their tool bag, because they see
Hmm.
their use of violence as being legitimate. And so they you know what I mean? Whereas we frame it as being like a failure. We
Yep.
we frame violence as being a failure of other modes of communication. It's like, but if we did something as simple as walked around keying people's cars, we could end the use of gas guzzling cars on our roads within 2 years. It would be too expensive for them to continually go and get their cars fucking sprayed.
Hmm.
So if we were more open to using violence, we could actually have greater impacts. But it's about how violence is continually framed and reframed, and because the state owns the only legitimate means of violence, and fascism keeps springing up from them. Anyway.
Yep. No, no, I understand what you're saying. I understand like the point. I guess maybe I'm just built different to the average like center left of center person, because I don't give a shit, man. I'll throw hands. I don't care. Like, I've never
but right
cared.
now, that's what I'm saying. Right now, you wouldn't see going out and smashing, like, right now, as a result of this election, are you going to go and get a bat and start smashing up people's houses?
I mean, the thought hadn't occurred to me.
See, and that's the difference, because the
But
Trumpers
I
are
also don't
armed
live in
and
America.
standing by and waiting to start going and smash stuff up depending on the outcome of this election. So that's what I'm talking about, is that on the left, we don't seem to see violence as inherently ready to go in our tool bag the way that people on the right do, because they see violence as being legitimate when it comes from them, because they're acting on behalf of the fascist government.
Yes. But some clarification to why it hadn't passed my mind is I live in Perth, not America. If I
Oh,
lived in America, my attitude may very well be different. But I'm
I
not
was going to
exactly
say
going to
that.
go and smash up a Mosman Park fucking mansion because Trump won the US elections, that whoever has that house didn't have a hand in putting him into power.
No,
You
but what
know,
I mean is
that
that that like we have literally had Trump rallies. People on the right have literally been having Trump rallies in this fucking country. People of that, you know what I mean? In response to the election, no, I hear about a landlord scamming another renter, and I'm burn that house down before my second thought is over. Yeah,
yep,
see, we need more of that energy. That's exactly that's the correct
100%.
response. That is the correct response. Speaking of which, I have to do a TikTok after I've done this for for uh exactly that, for someone exactly in that position, a landlord who needs to be absolutely cooked. The friend who came home from holidays and had a family just randomly living in their room.
Jesus Christ. Yep, yep. I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah, and they were like, "Excuse me, excuse me." Um, Yeah, and look, I think that is, I think it actually is a good thing though, that I'm not going to say, maybe I'm going to get in trouble for incitement now, but I do think it is a good thing that more people are having that response, that violence is sort of seeming more a appropriate response to, oh, we're getting Harris, we've had someone else called for Harris, we've had another state called for Harris. Um Okay, quick. Let me just have a quick look. What's just been called for Harris? Refresh. Come on. Colorado. Colorado's just gone
Colorado's
to
called.
Harris. Hey?
I said Colorado. Yep.
Yeah,
Sorry, I was just
Colorado, which
repeating what you were saying.
is a
That's
pretty
all.
big margin.
Yeah, that is a big margin.
So we're still waiting.
I'm starting to see in the map that I'm looking at a few places that are looking lead Dem at the moment. So New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, Nebraska, Wisconsin.
Well, Colorado's just been called, so we can tick that
Yep,
one off. Fantastic.
yep,
Um, what's it saying about Pennsylvania? So we've got at the moment it's looking like Trump's going to get Pennsylvania, which is not great. We don't like that.
yeah.
What's yours
Pennsylvania
saying?
has Republican in the lead, and has it at a margin of less than 2%.
And who's in the lead?
Trump.
Trump. Yeah, okay, that's what all those sources are saying. Lily, I tried to tell you that ages ago, T. Sorry, I was on the wrong page, Lily. I was on the wrong fucking page. I couldn't see the comments. I need to hear more about that. What are we hearing more about? We're hearing more about Maddie being violent. Were we all getting a little bit turned on by that? Do we have to change the subject because we're all getting a little bit uncomfortable? Also, one to count and mostly red. Yeah. Colorado has been called for Trump. Sorry, Colorado has been called for Harris.
Yep.
Arizona is being counted and is turning blue. Okay. So how do I unclick on it now that I've clicked on it? How do I unclick it? Or do I just click on another one?
Yeah, click outside of the map entirely, maybe to get back from it. Oh, Lily
Oh,
was
there we
saying
go.
hearing more about friends' bullshit landlord situation. What?
Oh, friend landlord situation. Yeah. My
Virginia
meds are
is
on board.
flip flopping.
Yay!
Virginia is flip flopping like a motherfucker, man. That state is just going
Yeah.
back and forth, back and forth. According to CNN, Kamala is 736 votes ahead.
So Arizona as 11 electoral votes, which, obviously is going to be important depending on really Pennsylvania. If Pennsylvania goes to Trump, then we desperately, desperately need both Michigan and Arizona. Like, there's no two ways about it at all. California, we know we're going to get. So, like, honestly, the fact that they haven't even started counting it yet, 54 electoral college votes, we may as well count those for Harris. Like,
Yep,
we know that.
yep,
I might as well include historically safe seats because there you go. That gives us a better idea of what we're dealing with.
yeah,
So like Illinois is going to be 19 votes that go to Harris. A lot of the historically safe seats that are going to come Harris's way haven't been counted yet. So
yeah.
we are further ahead than we think we are. We don't need to panic all that much. However,
Polls have
Pennsylvania
just
and
closed
Michigan.
in Nevada.
Polls just closed in Nevada.
Yep.
Okay.
So that'll be the next to start counting, I guess, depending on what their rules are regarding counting.
Yeah. I really just need to I just really fucking need I need Harris to hold on. I need her to hold on to Michigan, and I really need to know what the fuck's going on in Pennsylvania, motherfuckers.
Well, Michigan is looking pretty good for Harris at the moment. She's got a
Just eked out
um,
50%.
yeah, she's just gone over 50 so far, 50.7.
Can we talk about what's going to happen if Kamala pulls this off?
Right, so very similar to what's going to happen if Kamala fails. So if Kamala fails, it's going to be blame the Muslims, blame the Mexicans, because we're seeing a Latino vote that's swinging away from Democrats in this election. It's going to be blame far left activists. This is what happens if she loses. And then Democrats move further to the right. If she wins, it's going to be, oh, okay, we don't need Latinos, Muslims, and far left activists, and Democrats move further to the right. It's the same result either way. It's
I
just
think
we either blame them or we don't need them.
I think it is important to remember, though, that living under a Kamala government is going to be living under a Harris government is going to be a lot easier than living under a Trump government for people
Yeah, oh,
who
absolutely.
um
Absolutely. I'm just talking about the party more so than the living
Oh, the
conditions.
party doesn't fucking yeah. As far as elections and things in the US is concerned, democracy is a fairy tale. It's a myth. You
Yeah,
need to
it's
get
dead.
involved in smaller local elections, what's going on at a local level, and ignore what's going on in a upper level. Because if you fucking live in Texas or California, for example, you may as well have not bothered voting in today's election. They already counted your, they've already counted
Yep.
your state before we've even started counting the votes, for fuck's sake. And I know what that feels like. I live in WA. Don't worry. We'd already
Yep.
called the results of the referendum before I'd had a chance to vote last referendum.
Yep.
But I think
I see.
in terms of sorry.
I just misunderstood what Amy was saying. It wasn't what's going to
Oh,
happen with the situation. It's got what's going to happen on the ground if
yeah,
Kamala pulls off the win.
yeah.
What
In
do we do
terms
about all
of
of the nutcase Trumpers?
yeah, the good thing is that given that the Biden administration is currently has hold of the military, and it's going to be a transition to a Democratic president and a
Mm,
Democratic leadership. The military is going to be in the Democratic Party's hands the entire time. That is the key difference between, you
yep,
know, now versus January 6th, when it was really
agreed.
terrifying because Trump had control of the military. Like, we didn't know what
Yeah,
they were going to fucking do.
the National Guard weren't activated until hours after January 6th started because Trump's office still held control over them when that occurred. Whereas at
Mm.
the moment, the National Guard, the military, etc., is held by Democrats.
Yeah,
So
and it would be
it's
horrendous for a Democratic president to use the military on its people. But that's the thing, is that we won't expect the military to be called in. Whereas, if Trump was president, he would call the military in against his own people if he had generals in
yes,
place who would be willing to
yeah.
do that.
Look, we don't trust the military in any way,
No,
shape, or form. ACAB,
no.
including military.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
However, the idea that the commander in chief is the head of the military and that they obey, like, hoorah, hoorah. And again, I know of literal conspiracies within the military of people who've like killed their fellow officers because they found out that they were planning on overthrowing the government on behalf of Trump and shit. So, like, no, not at all. What I'm saying though is that in terms of the leadership structure within the military, it would be a lot more terrifying
mm,
if it were January part. Like, if Trump had Project 2025 back then, or if he was looking like in any way, shape, or form he might actually legitimately win this election, which is what I'm actually terrified of, that's a lot scarier than the situation where he doesn't win. And like, yes, I agree, he is going to try and chew this up through the courts. He's going to get court rulings made. He is going to try and get um really a lot of what his focus has been with overturning Chevron, with overturning like a lot of other Supreme Court decisions, has been to weaken the administrative branch of government, to strengthen the powers of the president as the executive, and to make the judiciary more likely to align with whatever he like says when he starts putting these court cases through. So it'll be decided more in the legislature rather than uh, on the streets at this point, like in the sort of near future. If Trump loses, it's going to be a whole lot of, you know, pushing through the court cases. And I would say wherever there are official like post-election rallies organized, I'd avoid those. Those are going to obviously be places where there's going to be a propensity for violence to break out. Like, I wouldn't be going to any big parties or post-election rallies or anything like that. Definitely
Hmm.
not. But yeah, I think we're more going to see this trying to be battled out in the courts, and that's where the real risk is at this point, rather than violence in the streets, so long as you're avoiding hot spots, if that makes sense. The real
Yep.
risk is that Trump has set up a judiciary that is going to more likely than not side with him when he. Yeah, but again, individual people aren't necessarily going to go out and start shooting off their AK-47s. They're going to go and find their mates and join up with their mates. So that's what I mean when I say avoid those hot zones, avoid situations like, don't be going to any rallies in the next couple of weeks. That's what I'd be saying first and foremost. But yeah, the risk is more in terms of like democracy going forward is more going to come through the legislature. Not that I wouldn't be fucking, yeah, I'd be avoiding any large crowds, but in the US, I'd be doing that anyway at the moment, to be honest with you.
Yep.
There have also
Yeah.
been the
Look, it's
constitutional sheriffs that have been intervening. Are we talking about the Trumpers, the ones who've appointed themselves constitutional sheriffs? I'm just letting you know that I am running to the bathroom every 5 minutes to shit myself because I am literally shitting myself over this election. Like, I don't want anyone to think I'm not taking this seriously just because I'm like, I don't think that's going to be the biggest risk. I'm just trying, like, I don't want to be an alarmist. Like, I am, like, you know what I mean? We do, like, I do still want to take a measured response to the result, because I do think the way that we interpret this information has the ability to impact what this information does. Do you know what I
yep.
mean?
And as for like individuals in the military, look, it is so hard to say anything regarding that because just like every other walk of life, there are people of different strokes within any
Yeah.
enterprise. Like even the military, even that, there's still people who are different viewpoints on things. So
And like I said,
fuck.
I know of individual circumstances where people have attacked their fellow soldiers because
Yep.
they found out about on conspiracies to overthrow the government. Like as if, mate, you're actually going to overthrow the government, you and your four mates in your platoon, like calm the fuck down, but
Yep.
still believed in it enough to kill a fellow soldier. Like, there are some fucked up people out there, not at all denying that and not trying to downplay that either. Like, you know,
Yep.
sorry, just realized that could have been how that was coming across. And so I just wanted to clarify that I wasn't
Yeah.
trying to dismiss. I do understand why people are afraid of it. I just, yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, I nearly vomited. I am honestly, genuinely a lot more terrified to find out what's going to happen if Pennsylvania is that close.
Yeah.
This is not good. Like, I might actually throw up, guys. I'm not lying. Right. So that when you said constitution, sorry, you were off the page. So obviously, when I asked the question before, I didn't get a response. I didn't realize you weren't on the page. I was like, okay, no problem. So the constitution show you're talking about are the right wingers out there who are trying to, yeah, that has definitely been getting worse at the last few elections. Like they were running there were AI ads that were being run. For people who don't realize, they were running AI ads in the US that were being advertised to black communities, advising them that the election was on a different day. And they were using like Obama's voice and Kamala Harris's voice to tell people to make sure you go out and vote November 7th.
Lippy's actually talking about people who are in local government sheriff's positions, not right winger, you know, MAGA seal.
Oh, are we talking about the sorry, if I open another video, I'm like my things are they're just calling themselves oh, they're in the local government sheriff positions calling themselves constitutional sheriffs. Right. Yeah. Arizona put me back red. Lily, I think you're banned from speaking. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. Please don't take that seriously. Yeah, they're MAGA. They've infiltrated it at local levels. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about when I say voting local is really, really important because a lot of those positions are elected positions. So, for example, they vote in their
Yeah.
sheriffs, their judicial officers, judges are appointed by election in the US.
Mm-hmm. Coroners,
And people
somehow.
coroners and people
Yeah, you
ask them
don't even
questions
have to
about
have
their
a medical
politics.
degree to be a coroner in
And people
America.
ask the judges about their political opinions, and the judge has to tell them, I'm not allowed to answer that. And people get annoyed. Like, why are you trying to avoid the question? I'm not. Literally, in my appointment as a judicial officer, I'm not allowed to give political opinions. I have to remain neutral on political issues. And I would have to judge every case based on the information presented to me. You're being very evasive. Why am I running for this office? This doesn't make any sense. Tie me up and stuff dirty socks in my mouth. I was like, no.
We're just
No.
going to, let's see here, block.
And it impacts cases, people. Yeah. Yeah, there are a shit ton of people elected in like 2016 that hold these positions. And there are a shit ton of people who've been elected more recently. There have been a shit ton of elections that have been happening recently in the US. And there are a shit ton of elections that are happening today. People won't even know who they're voting for until they walk into the election box. And there's a lot more than just the presidential election happening today. And yeah, it is a massive, massive problem over there. And this is again, I can never remember if we've spoken about it on stream. We probably have spoken about it on stream before, about how Americans have this illusion of democracy because they have the illusion of choice because they're constantly going into boxes and voting on shit. But because they're so uneducated on it, they have no idea what they're actually voting for. They have no idea what policies they're actually voting for most of the time. And in Arizona, in particular, Arizona is particularly worrying because in Arizona, there's a group that actually appointed themselves as the people's vote counters, like whatever, and set up their own separate vote counting thing and then sent their own fucking separate results to the White House. Did you hear about
Yeah,
that, Maddie?
I did. I did. Sorry, I'm doing like a few other bits and pieces all at once.
Oh, no, you're okay. I was just hoping you weren't spiraling. I've
No,
heard about
no,
this briefly.
no.
Yeah.
No spiral today. Yet.
I'm just going to go and click off of Pennsylvania because I don't think we need to be reminded about how to. What just happened? Why is Michigan now flipping to Trump? Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Georgia's going to be called for Trump.
Mm.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
It's not really, though, is it? Vote data shows a shift in support towards Donald Trump since many. Okay, hang on. I'm going to share this tab.
Yep.
So, all right. Oh, I'll try stop sharing my screen and then I'll share my screen again. Share my screen.
I wonder if this is what it was like to sit and watch Rome burn.
Your browser has lost connection to your screen share audio. Okay, let's see if you guys can hear this. It does feel very burny, doesn't it?
It is a poll, though, and so there are always,
you can hear it?
margins of error on these sorts of things.
But I am
continue to get up.
backstage as well.
These numbers could shift a little bit, but they are painting quite an interesting picture indeed, because we've been looking at how different demographics are telling this survey how they plan to, or how they in fact did vote. First, by gender. The AP Votecast survey is suggesting that Donald Trump is winning men by 8 points. And importantly, that is a shift toward Donald Trump from the last election of 3 percentage points. Kamala Harris is winning women by 9 percentage points, and that again is a shift toward Donald Trump of 3 percentage points. By age, some very interesting figures. 18 to 29-year-olds are in majority voting for Kamala Harris, but by much smaller margins than 4 years ago, according to this survey. 17-point shift toward Donald Trump. A smaller shift among 30 to 44-year-olds, a 6-point shift toward Donald Trump. There. Among different groups of different race and ethnicity, white voters, a very small shift toward Kamala Harris, but in majority voting for Donald Trump. Then African-American voters, Black voters, Latino voters, and Hispanic voters all swinging toward Donald Trump. The picture this survey is painting us is that Donald Trump has made significant inroads into some of those communities, young voters and communities of colour as well. And just quickly, we can also look at education figures. Donald Trump winning non-college educated men as he did 4 years ago, but winning them by a greater margin. Also non-college educated women, and a shift toward Donald Trump among college educated women in this survey. And that is perhaps the opposite of what some people had been suggesting. Now, despite all of that, there was a lot of red. There are a lot of shifts towards red in demographic figures. We are still watching the figures themselves, the votes themselves come in, and it is looking like a very close race in some of these states. We'll give you an update on some of them.
Holy shit. That doesn't make sense. Fuck all the way off. Yeah. Yeah. Holy shit. Pennsylvania has had quite a large swing towards Trump. That's still within the margin of error. It's barely. It's literally 0.1. We're not going to look at Michigan anymore.
It just flipped back. Michigan.
Where?
CNN has it flip back quite significantly.
No kid left behind. The entire society is there instead. Yeah.
Yep.
Very good point.
They must have just finished counting in quite a large portion of Michigan there, because it was showing Republican lead, but it's now showing a Democrat lead of almost 8%.
In Michigan.
Yep. On CNN.
Why is it not
It's showing
updating?
Kamala being 116,000 votes ahead.
Does it tell you what percentage of the votes being counted?
26.
So that's an extra, yeah, that's an extra giant chunk of the vote that's come in there. Perfect. That's good.
Yep.
That's good. Let's just keep. It's I'd say it's a polling booth that's probably
Closed.
no, I was going to say it's a Democratic polling area, like a, what do you call it? A gerrymandered.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, haven't seen shit from Nevada yet.
Nah.
They closed a while ago. But no info out of them just yet.
Yep. Far out.
New Mexico's flipped back to blue.
I just want to see that good news in Michigan before it disappears again.
Do you want me to screenshot it and send it to you?
Yes.
Yes? All right.
I don't care how lame that is. It might be the only good news we get all fucking night. And I remember what happened in my own fucking election. So yeah, the one time they put your name up on screen, get a fucking screenshot.
Yeah.
I really want to know what's going on in fucking Pennsylvania. No. Oh fuck. Oh thank fuck. Oh thank fuck. Oh thank fuck. I just gave myself a heart attack. I just gave myself a heart attack. I just gave myself a heart attack.
What?
No, Jesus
You
Christ.
good, bro?
ABC just said Donald Trump's pathway seems to be clearer than Kamala's. I accidentally clicked on Ohio and then freaked out because I thought it was Pennsylvania and it was saying 0 seats in doubt and it had gone to Trump, and I literally nearly fucking shit my pants. But I'm not even fucking kidding, Lily. Amy just made the comment that ABC just said Donald Trump's pathway seems better than Kamala Harris. They're beginning to call it. Guys, why are you giving... No, stop giving us the bad news. No. All right. Okay. I'm going to switch over. If they're starting to call it, then we're going to switch over to the NBC
voters. So then she was relative to 2020. So there's some interesting dynamics at play here.
Well, it's interesting because we saw Gotti Schwartz in Arizona on the campus of Arizona State University, which gives.
That was the wrong.
Brand new F1 Ultra.
I had it ready to go and it
The
turns
world's
out it was
first
the wrong
20-watt
one.
fiber and diode dual laser that can.
Should we watch Fox News's coverage?
Quantum entangle.
I'd
Quantum
rather not.
Come on, I thought you'd be all
That's
for
the
that.
same.
Oh, I don't want to see the election result board. What are you fucking doing?
For Hillary Clinton.
Here we
And I don't
go.
think I need to tell you, this wasn't enough to win Michigan for Hillary Clinton. This was more than enough for Joe Biden to win Michigan.
Okay.
And this right now looks an awful lot like this. Remember our test coming into the night, one of them was to compare Oakland to its next door neighbor, Macomb. Macomb is blue right now. This is the blue-collar, Trump-friendly suburban county. There's almost no vote that's been counted there, so yet to be seen how this is going to measure up. But one of the reasons Democrats were able to win Michigan, why Joe Biden was able to win Michigan 4 years ago, was this. He was able to run up a
Oakland County.
monster number in a gigantic, highly populated suburban county, and
Which
it
is what
more
she-
than offset Trump's strength
that's what you were
in the
talking
other
about.
gigantic blue-collar suburban county. This is a number,
That's
if
what
this
you were just talking
holds,
about,
that the
Maddie.
Trump people would be very happy with. The Democrats want that back where it was in 2020. One other county that I think we can look at here and get a bit of a clue from, this is just outside of Lansing, and this is one at the start of the night that the Democrats looked at, they would have said, we want to flip this county tonight. Let me just show you. It got
That volume
super
better?
close in 2020. Joe Biden came less than a point away from
that's
winning.
fine.
Had been a 5-point Trump county in 2016. Again, this is one of those places, the reason why Joe Biden was able to make the gains in Michigan, a big sort of suburban county, outside Lansing here. Biden nearly won it. And again, it's 95% basically means all the vote is now in Eaton County. It's gone back to that 2016 level, 51-46. 49-44. That's what the Trump campaign wants to see in counties like this, where they had slippage in counties they won in 2020. They want to get that slippage back. We saw that earlier. We showed you Lackawanna County in Pennsylvania. They did that. They did this just outside Lansing. Here's another place where they really want to do that. You could see right here next to Oakland, it's Livingston County. Okay, this is a mix of sort of suburbia, some rural areas here too. It's gigantic, kind of between Lansing and Detroit. More than half the vote now counted in Livingston County. And again, just want to show you, this was a bad number for Donald Trump 4 years ago. He won this by a little bit less than 23 points. This was a good number for Donald Trump. He
I'm
won
logged
the
into the
state
Two
of
Girls
Michigan
One
in
Garbage Can
2016,
YouTube.
winning here by
You can
about
see.
just under 30 points. And his margin tonight is looking more so far like 2016 than it is 2020. This is a pattern that's being repeated. We're showing you, not a lot of counties in Michigan have this much vote in, but in those that are, we're starting to see this. And again, we're seeing this in other areas of the battleground, the northern
She's
tier
got
of
a
the
plan to
battleground.
leave.
Pennsylvania, we had some more that just came in,
Honestly,
almost
smart.
It can take you through them. You can start right here, Berks County. Okay, this
Excuse
is
me.
where Reading is. One of the things we talked about, Reading has the
Pennsylvania.
highest concentration of Hispanic residents of any city in Pennsylvania. The Trump campaign said, we are going to make gains with Hispanic voters. The national exit poll is showing Trump making substantial
Delaware is
gains
projected to go to
with Hispanic
Harris.
voters tonight. I've seen counties way outside the battleground with
Projected,
large
but hasn't
Hispanic
been called
populations where
yet.
Donald Trump has made dramatic gains tonight. Some in Virginia, Hudson County, New Jersey is another. And here in
Fucking
Berks
hell.
County, again, with one of the larger Hispanic populations in Pennsylvania, here's Trump with just about, that's basically the vote here, winning it by 13. Look at that. 4 years ago, he won it by 8. This is exactly what the Trump campaign said it was going to do in a
Willing
place
to marry
like
someone
Berks
for a
County. It was
visa
gonna
pathway,
take
but I'm
that,
broke, so
and it
they'll
was
need
gonna
to
make
cover
it
that
double digits.
side.
They've made it double digits
Same.
in Berks
I have to get
County. We
divorced
check in on
first, though,
Luzerne
so you'll have
County,
to pay for my
and again,
divorce,
we've been
and then
talking
I'll
about
marry
this
you.
one. As that same day vote comes in, this is Wilkes-Barre, this is Hazleton, another county with a substantial Hispanic population, one
Far
of the highest
out.
in Pennsylvania. Now Trump has hit his 2020 number there, and he's got a long way to go here. All that vote that's still to come in, we expect to be election day vote. The pattern, the trend is pretty clear here. So again, you're seeing Trump in good position in one of those big counties, densely populated counties in northeast Pennsylvania. Take a look down here at Cumberland County. We talked about this one a little while ago. This was a big hope for Democrats in Pennsylvania coming into tonight. Again, 95%.
I'm just going to share
means,
this one
basically-
quickly.
Mm-hmm.
This is just the board that's popped up. I'm gonna put that screen full screen when we come back to it as well. But just look how red that is. Look at how red those are the counties that are being counted. Look how red they are. And don't forget as well that because of gerrymandering, the more red the more red boxes there are.
Yep. Yeah, it's all fucked.
Oh my god, it's insane. Fucking insane. Okay, we're going back to the other tab. I also realized that I could actually full screen the screen that I'm sharing instead of trying to
Yeah.
make it bigger in the window.
Yep. Yeah, Nick, gonna need to turn it up, bud.
Hey,
The volume's gone
there's no one can hear it.
from the window. I can't even hear it, and I'm background.
ABC just called Iowa for Trump. Fuck.
Have you got the YouTube window on mute?
No. I could hear it the whole time. So, I'm just gonna. Here we go. Have I frozen? No. Okay.
No. Okay, I think I can hear it now.
It's just background music at the moment.
Yeah. It's
ABC
very
just
quiet.
called Iowa for Donald Trump. That pollster was wrong. Well, this is what I kept saying. Every single poll that I kept showing that was saying that Trump was winning, everyone was like, but because of this, this, and this, it's actually a Harris victory. And I was like, okay, except everything I'm seeing is pointing to a Trump victory. And yet everyone keeps telling me that it secretly actually means that Harris is going to win. And I don't understand. I don't understand how that is the case, but all right, sure, whatever. The thing that worries me yeah. Did you like that meme I shared the other day? I haven't been this confident about elections since 2016.
Yeah. Yep.
I just felt like it was far too fucking fitting. Oh, this is yours, Maddie. Sorry, I didn't warn you that we've gone back to your screen.
That's all right. Mine's on mute. The
Yeah,
music's
yours
coming
is always
from
on
your
mute.
side. Yeah.
Yeah, I clicked on yours because mine's got an ad playing. So I clicked on your
right.
video.
Understood.
Sorry, I was just like background producing and didn't tell you what I was doing.
That's all right, mate. Don't worry about it. There are shouts for you to have yourself some smoke.
Oh, yeah, close now. Yes.
Might as well, buddy.
Cones
Why
for
not?
all. I've already got it packed, ready to go. All right, ready? Let's. The end is nigh. Fuck this shit. I'm out. But I did want to talk about some positive stuff because a row wasn't enough. Excellent. Okay.
Mecklenburg County has now been reported out. Harris,
North
no
Carolina
surprise,
is going to
landslide
Harris.
margin here, but this is short of where Joe Biden was here 4 years ago. Joe Biden won Mecklenburg by 35.
Excellent.
Right now it's 32
Violently high,
and a
though.
half.
Perfect.
And again, this number, Biden lost North Carolina narrowly, but he lost it 4 years ago. The name of the game for Democrats
Now,
tonight, you can look at.
just going to mute that for a sec.
Yep.
179,000 Trump.
side.
That is essentially a 200,000 vote margin.
Because it's annoying me too.
Fair.
I was gonna. Oh, that's right. I was gonna. Some positive news. So, we got our acts together, guys, a little bit, in order to be positive about future hopes. ACT is getting together in terms of Comco, the not-for-profit. We've got action happening.
Mm-hmm.
The limit will not exist today. There is no limit. But action is happening. We are getting shit happened. And there will be actual things to send
There's
out to you
progress being made.
as a result. Yes. Love y'all actually breaking stuff down. Yes. The things and
Mike.
the shit
Cheers,
and the
mate.
stuff.
So
So
yeah, there is progress being made on Comco. What we've been talking about, or what Tamara particularly has been talking about for quite some time. We are
yes.
actually moving towards things. So yeah.
So we got a we've got some basic guidelines and stuff agreed to. We got basic documentation and stuff done up, ready to sort of get approved. As soon as it gets all approved, then it'll all be sent out. Basic goals and whatnot. And excitingly, we agreed to our pillars, which I think personally was the most exciting thing for me, just because it still has to go out in the official constitution to be accepted. But our pillars are just positive. So we're going to talk about them over the course when we need happiness. We're going to talk about what the pillars of our community are, according to the constitution that, is still a draft constitution. But yeah. Yeah, there are new guinea pigs. That's very exciting. Very, very exciting. You've seen some TikToks of the babies. A lot of panic in some of the spaces I'm in right now for folks who aren't familiar with the Red Mirage and other elements. And I think, like I was saying earlier, it's also, the way that we talk about it can also lead towards creating some of that panic as well, which is why I was just saying we want to be careful about the way we're disseminating the information that we are gaining as well. Actually, should I unmute this guy for a bit? Should we hear what he's actually got to say?
Yeah, sure.
We'll listen to him for a little while.
Where we now have a giant chunk of the vote.
While we have another
start
cone.
to see some patterns developing. Again, just checking in statewide, close to 60%. It is very close there.
He does
statewide,
seem very
but,
loud, this guy, doesn't
that
he?
is a county, a few counties where we have that much vote in that size. That's very significant, potentially, what we just saw in Dane County.
Look at how much red there is.
Yep.
Just unbelievable. Who wants to know where the term gerrymandering comes from?
Yeah, go on.
I waited way too long then. I don't care. I'm going to wait until someone tells me yes.
You should have just jumped in, bud. Just jump in.
Nah. So, when the initial boundaries and things were being distributed and joined up, basically back in 1780 or whatever, the guy had this border joined, and it was up on if we add this one to the stage for a second, over in I don't know, over on the west coast there somewhere. What's that called? What tab do I need to share instead? California, Oregon, up in Oregon. Oregon, rightio. So over here up in Oregon, he was complaining about the shapes of some of the new borders that they were drawing because he said that they looked ridiculous. Some of them looked bizarre. And they pointed to his particular district and they said, look at your district. Yours looks like a fucking salamander. And because his name was Gary, they started calling it a gerrymander. Instead of a salamander, they called it a gerrymander. And then over time it became gerrymander because we pronounce it Jerry, not Gary, but his name was Gary. Anyway, that's where gerrymandering comes from because the guy who was complaining about it, they were like, well, what are you complaining about? Your boundary looks like a fucking salamander. No, it's not a salamander, it's a fucking gerrymander. So then something more interesting than watching the US fall into fascism? Thanks for entertaining my bullshit. I appreciate it. Pennsylvania is one that I am a little bit worried about.
I think I'm just kind of losing the plot, to be honest with you.
Seeing
Apologies
how...
for the noise.
Yeah. Pennsylvania is concerning me.
I'm just, yeah.
The West Coast just closed.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Northeast showing up red. So this is the screen that I was sort of looking at earlier. This map that was kind of giving us the ideas about concerns with Michigan and Pennsylvania that we started ignoring because then the vote hadn't been updated, but then the vote was updated and now it's looking even worse. So now I don't know what to believe. Polls close to West Coast. Iowa and Kansas have both been claimed for Trump. Pennsylvania has shifted towards Trump. Even with half the vote in, because there is some evenness in which parts of the state the votes are coming in from. And so the state hasn't been called. And yet the swing does seem to be towards Trump. So can we call now that the vote has closed in California, can we call California to Trump and give ourselves a little buoy? Oh yeah, look, it's gone blue. I just updated it. It's closed. It literally just fucking closed and it's already blue. They've just closed and it's blue.
Yeah.
Excellent. I'm so glad. That's definitely made me feel a little bit better. 0% of the vote called. Doesn't fucking matter. We're called it.
Yeah,
fabulous. Doesn't matter.
Hilarious.
Doesn't matter. Over here, we're like 68% of the vote counted and we're still biting our nails. Over here, 0% of the vote. Doesn't matter. Oh. That was like the level of confidence with which Anthony Green called the 2021 Western Australian state election. The minute the polls closed, he called it for fucking King McGowan.
Yep, who's gone and taken himself a job in fucking MinRes. with the criminal fucking boss. Fucking Minrez.
Nevada hasn't called a single thing and they've been closed an hour. I think Nevada is one of those states that aren't allowed to report until the voting's been called.
Yeah,
like they aren't allowed to report until. I wish we had rules like that in one of our states. We used to. And it was really good because for Western Australia, we felt like we were part of the election, and then they changed it. And I was like, damn it.
Yeah. Minres have a not-for-profit funded mental health service. I mean, they need it considering that the fucking owner doesn't want anybody leaving the building at all from the second they arrive in to the second they leave. Like, dude literally believes that staff leaving the building to go and get a coffee at a cafe is time theft.
Yeah.
Fuck that bloke. Oh, they use not-for-profits for their services for their staff. Oh, there we go. That's even more believable.
What always annoys me as well is that these not-for-profit will, like, this is why we're starting our own, because these not-for-profits will get in bed with these mining companies and stuff and want to help them out with projects and get involved with them on stuff because it makes them look good. But like the amount of times that I worked with a mining organization and they were actually willing to do anything, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like half the reason the CEO wants you to get involved with them is so that they can get close with the mining magnates, not so that they can actually get any benefit for the community. It's like,
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I used to work for John Holland. And it's really difficult as well with those really male-dominated spaces to try and break in with the mental health talk, because with spaces where, like, I even know when I worked at Flight Centre, when they started bringing in Are You OK Day, I'd go to HR and like literally complain to HR about the fact that I had issues at work and I was being bullied. And HR turned around and on Are You OK Day said, well, maybe you're just being overly sensitive.
Hey man, similar story. I went to HR on Are You OK Day and said to them that the fact that our retainer was so low that it was impossible to afford a rental on the retainer was the primary detrimental mental health factor to any of their staff in the company at all. And they literally laughed at me.
Of course they fucking did.
In my face.
Of course they fucking did. Because they thought it was funny. They thought it was funny you were struggling.
That gave me every piece of information I needed to know about that company. Oh yeah, fuck Flight Centre. They can eat my ass.
I pointed out to them, I was working there 4 days a week and they wouldn't let me take a 3 IC position, which was an unpaid extra responsibility position. Because I didn't have the same level of investment in the company as other staff. But my husband, who was sleeping with his boss at the time, was allowed to be a manager of a store working 4 days a week. So he was working the same amount of days per week, allowed to be a part-time manager of a store. I wasn't allowed to take on a 3 IC position. Every single month that he and I worked for that company, I outsold him. Every single fucking month, including my novice month. He was my 2 IC And my very first month, I made $9,000 worth of sales my first month, and he had to call head office to get them to double check my work because he wasn't sure how I was making so much money on the flights. So I was better than that guy in every way, shape, or form. And I had had management experience before coming to work at Flight Centre because I had worked in real estate as a property manager before I went to work at Flight Centre because I found property management too stressful. And when I tell people that, I'm like, yeah, I came to Flight Centre because property management was too stressful. They were like, oh, you're not going to like the flightmares. And I was like, the flightmares were fine. Having a boss call me in Bali on holiday because my client who's in Thailand on holiday can't get hold of me because they need help with their flights. Like, I'm sorry, that's what the 24-hour service is for. Why are you calling me in Indonesia? Go away. Oh, it was the cult like nature of the company was the biggest issue. For sure, for sure. Oh, I was going to say something then, and then I was like, all right, we've got something happening in Pennsylvania, so I'm just going to switch back to this for a second.
Yep.
Can we hear anything, guys?
Nope.
No?
I can't. Don't know about the rest of the crew.
Nothing? California, yeah. The second they closed, they called Harris. We were laughing about it. It was one of the good moments of the day. All right, I'm gonna give you the link, Maddie, and see if you can share it instead. I'll post it in the private chat. Is that okay? I can't hear you now, so hello? No, I can't hear you. What have I done? Can everyone else hear Maddie?
It was me. I'm the
Oh,
problem.
it was you.
It's me.
Okay. No, all good. Harris is behind in all 7 swing states. Yeah. But she's ahead in Pennsylvania just a little bit.
All right. I'm going to switch over to my stage.
Yeah.
And I'll play this.
It should be live.
Latino population, and look at this. In 2020,
There we go,
Joe
that's
Biden won
working.
here by 6.5 points. Kamala Harris now ahead by 0.7 of a point with just about all the vote in. Something else we've been seeing tonight. This is really, I keep pointing it out because I keep seeing it, and I think it's important
the
to
Amish
know.
do not
There's
tend
a
to
lot
vote.
of counties
So,
like this in Pennsylvania,
hey, Gremlin.
and Michigan,
Good to
and
see ya.
Wisconsin, where Donald
So,
Trump either won or came very close
I
in
was a
2016,
part of one of these
and he
religions
lost
that
meaningful ground in
taught
2020
to be no part of
when
the
he lost
world.
all 3 of those states.
And one of
we
that is
keep
part
seeing
of that
this
is not
tonight, where he's
being
landing
part of any
tonight
sort of
is
political
back
going
where
on
he landed in
whatsoever.
2016.
So
These were winning numbers for Trump. These were
don't.
losing numbers from
I
Trump.
mean,
This
we
is
weren't
another
even
county
supposed
where
to
you're
enroll
seeing
to vote, except
winning the
when they
2016
changed the law
winning
and said that
numbers
you
for
legally
Trump.
had to be
And
enrolled
just
to
to
vote,
put
then we had
Lehigh
to
in
be enrolled to
perspective
vote
here
because we had to
too,
follow the law of the
Lehigh
land.
County,
But yeah,
again, I think we showed you
specifically,
8 for Biden, less than
didn't
5
partake in
tonight. So you're
elections
also
because the
seeing it
Bible
there. We
says to be
continue
no
to see
part
it.
of the world,
Philadelphia
which is why
monitoring this as
they don't
well.
even use
Now,
electricity.
more than 80% of the vote is counted here. Again, compare this to 2020. Biden won here 81-18. We're going to take it a step further back because I want
What
you to
happens
see
to them
the
if
longer
Trump
term trend here. In
goes
fact, I can take it all the way
guns
back to
out?
2012 because I think it's an interesting story. In
This is the
2012,
thing. This is
Barack
the problem
Obama
with
won
being
this
in a
county
cult that just
by
teaches you just to sit
71
it out.
points. Okay, the
'Cause
county.
you're
It's
like,
Philadelphia. It's the city of Philadelphia.
God
Donald
will
Trump in
protect me, oh,
2016, he brought it down to 67 points.
Good luck.
In 2020, Trump lost ground in the state. Trump lost the entire state of Pennsylvania. But look at this. He basically brought it down to 63 points from 71, 67, 63. And tonight, right now, This is down to 56 points. From 71 in 2012 down to 56. Again, what are we seeing here? What we saw in 2020, the Hispanic precincts of Philadelphia, we saw
that's something I've never thought about
improvement for
before.
Donald
See,
Trump.
having
We're not
been in
talking
a
about
cult
10,
that
20,
taught
30
us
points
just to
here.
sit
We're
back
talking
and
about
God would
enough, though, to
protect
bring
us, I
67
have.
point gap
I thought
down
about it
to
a lot because I'm
63,
like,
and
how fucked?
tonight, currently
Because you
56.
know they're going to
The
be like,
margin
"Oh,
for
sitting
Kamala
ducks
Harris
will
in
come and take
Philadelphia
your
right
food
now
first."
is just about 300,000 votes. Democrats would love to see
I'll be
that
back in a
land
bit,
tonight
alright?
at 500,000. Boy, they got a long way to go to get there. The one thing Democrats have to hope for in Philadelphia right now is there is a large number of vote by mail ballots that are going to be released. Looking at my clock here, we think in the next 45 minutes or so. That should boost the Harris number in Philadelphia. That should boost the margin there. But she needs to get that back at least to where Joe Biden was 4 years ago. She needs to get that margin way up. I'm just going to take a quick look through.
So that is some good news then. The mail-in ballots haven't been opened at the same time in these states, which is odd because this is the thing you got to keep in mind. They have different rules for different states, and it's impossible to keep it all in your mind at the same time. So if they haven't opened the mail-in votes yet, we know that more Democrats tend to vote by mail-in vote than Republicans do. If they haven't been opened yet, then there is a big chance for Pennsylvania to still swing back towards Harris. So that is some positive news to keep in mind. That's something I'll think about for the rest of the day.
Again, this is where Democrats, I said at the start of the night,
Yeah.
they want to land over 60% in Chester
The
County.
thing as well, you've got to
59.8
remember
for Harris
though,
right now, but the wild card is waiting on a lot of
this is going to
same-day
fuck with you
vote.
even more. You ready?
Is that going to affect that number for Harris
what have I
right
done?
now and move up to Montgomery
This will
County?
fuck with you even more. So in these cults, right, where you're taught just to sit back and God will protect you, here's the even more fucked thing. You're also taught that Satan's going to specifically target you because you're God's chosen people. So you're more likely to experience violence, but you're not allowed to fucking do anything about it still. Sorry, I muted the screen audio. Did you go back to the other one, did you? I see. I'm not enjoying how many seats they're gaining in the House because so far they've gained 2 from the Republicans, and I'm not enjoying that. You're still muted too, Maddie. Just FYI, just in case you didn't know that.
Thank you. I didn't know that.
Oh, okay. I was sitting here like, I don't know what Maddie's saying, but okay.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that the audio from the other one was feeding back into my headset. And it was giving me a mad headache. That's why I needed to stand up and walk away for a bit.
Oh, blooming. Why did his mind just stop working suddenly? That's what annoys me.
Check, you don't get audio. I get double the audio.
Have we got any audio now with this one? Nothing?
No, I don't think so.
Don't think so?
No, I just turned up my volume as much as I could and couldn't hear anything.
Nothing.
Love you too, Lily.
It's all right. It's more important that we say what we need to say anyway than listen to what they're saying, because who cares what they're saying?
Yeah, pretty much.
Really. They're just telling us that Vermont is projecting that Harris is going to win. Just pretend anytime it pops up with projected winner Harris, just pretend it's not talking about a particular state and it's just talking about the whole country. That's just what you have to do in order to stay alive.
Yep.
Oh, all I can say is those girls need to cover their cups. Don't you hate that? Don't you hate, like, literally looking at young people and being like, oh, do you know what you're cheering right now? Like, you take care of yourself. So bad. It's going to be so, so bad.
Yep. It's not going to be great.
No.
Well, for me, Lily, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm actually, for my own sanity, going to sign off in a tick.
Yeah, fair enough.
I need to take a break from the coverage, or either I will put my head through the desk, or
I
I'll
already
be
told you what was happening. You fucking.
unusable as a human being for the next couple of days.
I told you what was happening the second that they call Michigan for Trump. So yeah.
Yep. Yep. I've just read some news article updates. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The latest or the key events?
Some of the latest stuff.
Okay. Because I was going to say she's won Washington, which I know wasn't in question at all, but I mean they counted as soon as it closed. But she's leading in Oregon, which again I know wasn't really.
Just fuck me dead.
Just leaving you with some positive news before you sign off.
Yeah,
That's all.
I appreciate it. I can't stop reading the fucking news articles. Like,
and that's the thing. Don't read it. Just listen to my soothing voice tell you that she's leading in New Mexico. She's leading in New Mexico and in Oregon, and it's going to be great. And we just go have a nap now. Don't look any further at any more of it at all.
I'm just going to turn my brain off for like approximately 2 hours.
Yeah.
Play some mindless video games that don't require me to think.
Yep, and we're going to keep looking at. I'm just going to click on these blue ones until you sign off. Look at Columbia. Look at the District of Columbia. Just remember that there is a safe place to go in the US, and then sign off.
Yeah, I'm gonna send some messages to some mates of mine as well. All right, chat. Before I go, love all of you guys. Thank you for joining us for this.
No, don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it before Matty signs off. Stop updating us before Matty signs off. Yep.
That's all right. I've already seen it.
Oh,
don't
fuck.
worry about it. I've seen it.
I have to go to the toilet. I'm gonna shit myself.
Yeah.
I wish I was kidding, but I actually.
Where are you getting your numbers, Lily?
ABC.
They're very different to me. Like very different. From the ABC.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are so different to everything else. Like, I want to know where ABC are getting their numbers from.
No, ABC are getting their numbers from what do you call it? Remember, we worked that out. You said it earlier. They're pulling it straight from
what, from AP?
AP, yeah. See, you just said it again. It's twice now you've said it. It's okay. Shh. Shh.
Yeah, they are. You're right. They are pulling it from AP.
Yeah, Associated Press.
All right. Yeah, that's
Love you.
me
Take care of
checking out
yourself.
for now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love you guys a lot. Thanks for joining us. Do try to remember we aren't Americans. I know we have friends and loved ones who are in America who will be affected by what's going on right now. Day one, don't allow yourself to fall victim to what I'm currently falling victim to.
Yeah.
Just do your best to try and stay as sane and savvy as you can in a frankly insane fucking world.
Yeah.
Love you guys to bit. We will be back on Monday.
Yeah.
Possibly for a new edition of the Two Girls One Garbage Can
Yeah.
pod.
Yeah.
Where we're going to be talking about some Australian related stuff
Yes.
for a change.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I will see you guys maybe a bit later today. Who knows? Depends on how I feel. Love yous all
Fair
lots.
enough.
Be well.
You too, Maddie. Take care of yourself. Yeah, absolutely. Just more reason to create a stronger community, definitely. My
right.
birthday is tomorrow. Oh,
Wait, whose birthday's tomorrow?
Zach.
Oh, happy birthday for tomorrow.
Happy birthday. Yeah, love you, Maddie. Take care of yourself.
All right. See you guys.
Yeah. Have a good sleep. I know what it's like as well when you get like that headache where you need to get off. That's why I was like, I didn't want to like peer pressure him into getting off, but I was also like, I know what it's like when I get to that point, because sometimes I get to that point and I'm streaming and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna throw up any second now. And really not be here for it when it happens. This is the one that I was looking for earlier when I was before. I need the American of the group to be here. Bill. People think I'm joking. I'm not, but my birthday is the most unlucky day of the year. I don't believe you. I think it's going to be amazing. I think it's going to be fabulous. It's just, I have no idea what I'm saying. See, the problem that we've got with Oregon's been called, which historically has been a blue state, which is good. It's good that it stayed that way. I was going to say Alaska got called for Trump before they even counted any of the votes. God. Ha! What happened? When you stub your toe tomorrow, think of me. We're not even looking at Minnesota yet. They've barely called enough of the vote for it to be worth thinking about. If Michigan, I can't tell you how concerned I am about that. The other thing as well to remember about the US elections versus ours, for example, okay, is that for where am I? It's a lot easier. It's a lot our elections are a lot more stable in Australia because we have mandatory voting. So can you guys hear that? Can you hear that? No? 30 minutes till Hawaii closes, 130 for Alaska. You can't hear it? That's okay. No worries. I don't know what he's saying because I can't hear him either. Okay. So starting in Virginia, we don't have a call yet. Despite having 80% of the vote counted. Wow. That is true. 80% of that vote is counted, yet we haven't got a call. That is so bizarre. Holy shit. Sometimes question our own political system, but looking at America, it makes me realize it could be a lot worse. Yeah. And having that mandatory voting means that we predictably know what certain areas are going to vote because the same people vote every single time we have an election. There are large portions of the population in America where only 30% of the population vote, and it's not the same 30% every time. So you literally will have areas that might flip just because a different set of people decided to vote this time, and it was enough of a change because of whatever. Like, and we've got to remember, a lot of stuff is happening in the US. For example, the war in Gaza. I shouldn't even say the war in Gaza. The genocide that's happening in the Middle East at the moment. The reason the Democrats haven't addressed it is because their polling has showed that only about 3% of the population give a shit about it. Clearly, this result is showing that that is not the case. It's just that only 3% of the people polled cared about it or listed it as their primary issue. Now, I got to be honest, someone called up the other day and said, "What's your primary issue this election?" And I said, "State or federal?" And they said, "State." And I said, "Housing." And we had a really good discussion about housing. But for 90% of the people they called, they're not going to ask state or federal. So they might launch into a discussion about Gaza talking to someone from the state who's like, well, that's actually a federal issue. You know what I mean? Or vice versa. So who fucking knows what these pollsters, who they're talking to, where they're getting their information from? It would absolutely mandatory voting. Every single person, we've got to pin this. Everyone should be so fucking grateful for mandatory voting. It is the best thing that ever fucking happened, and it should be the same everywhere because it's mandatory for the government to ensure that we are all able to vote. Remember that. That's what mandatory means. I am going to go into the toilet just quickly because I am not kidding. I am actually going to fucking shit myself. This is actually terrifying the little shit out of me, guys. How are we going? What's going on? I'm also doing Broken Booty Club. Oh yeah, I am in the Broken Booty Club. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. When you get to a certain age, you can't trust a fart not to be. Yeah, absolutely. Your explanations are accessible to everyone. It does mean that they're often very general and broad, which means that often there's other information that could be given in order to get a better, more full explanation. Yeah, Crohn's is the fucking worst. Colitis also not fun. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Bad health bingo. It is, Zach. Bad health bingo. Absolutely. An alphabet soup. Yeah, you can tick all the boxes all you're lonesome. Broken Booty Club. You have every known disease and 2 new ones discovered inside your body. New Mexico just called blue. Fantastic. Leading again in Minnesota. Minnesota is really, really worrying me. Michigan is really worrying me. Trump's ahead by quite a bit now, which I don't want to. Yeah, every time I click on Minnesota, Harris is leading. Is that? I just can't believe. I can't believe Michigan's going to go to Trump. Crohn's is the patchy version. Yeah. I thought what's it called? I thought colitis was I thought colitis was limited to one portion and Crohn's was like colitis you could pinpoint to a spot. I thought that was the difference. I thought colitis was you could pinpoint it to a spot. I wasn't actually saying that one was better or worse than the other. I didn't realize it was the whole bowel though. I'm learning something new. I thought it was that like you could pinpoint it to a spot, whereas Crohn's was like, oh, where's the Crohn's? Find the Crohn's. You know what I mean? Don't drink if you're pregnant. I'm not looking at it anymore because how haven't they called Georgie yet? So no, I love learning new stuff about stuff like this because when you learn something and the way your brain interprets it isn't always necessarily it's just the way your brain interprets it. So yeah, so my interpretation had been anyway. So that's cool. That is good to learn. That is good to know. I was hoping that I had Michigan is making me nervous. But okay, so we're also calling 192 seats at the moment for Harris. Far out. I really hate when they use words like comfortably. All right, we're gonna I'm going to see if I can share this tab. Can you hear that? Can you guys hear that? No sound? Okay. Let's see what's going on.